Thank you all. Thank you all for having me today present at this global webinar. First and foremost, I want to thank OpenWaze for inviting me. As I think it's critical for me to identify, we've been working with OpenWaze for a number of years. And when I look back on this journey with SmartPay that began a little bit more than 3 years ago, OpenWaze has actually been with us from day one. So to me, it's critical to have a partner like OpenWaze throughout this process. Money movement and the transformation in money movement has been ongoing now for a number of years. If we think about that, and if we think about where some of those largest opportunities and where some of the most successful demonstrations of that exist, you don't have to look much further than Asia and Southeast Asia in particular. Alipay as an example, 12, 14, 15 years ago, who would have thought that Alipay today, a digital wallet, for the lack of a better definition, would have a market capitalization almost equal to JP Morgan Chase, and a market capitalization and success achieved in such a short period of time. It is a testament to technology and how digital is really transforming everything. Vietnam has lagged behind some of its peers in and around the region, but that lag has nothing to do with the lack of technology being adopted or accepted in the market. With over 70% of consumers in Vietnam using and accessing internet services, there are over 125 million mobile subscriptions in Vietnam. That's more than the total population in the country. The government has taken significant steps to aid in digitizing financial services in Vietnam. To date, over 39 wallets have been licensed to promote that. And steps now are starting to take hold. A lot of that may have been prompted by COVID, but not entirely. You'll see the country this year in the electronic wallet business processing over 1 billion individual payment transactions. Again, this clearly demonstrates the path and the battle for the payment space that is beginning now in Vietnam. SmartNet's not new. SmartNet's been operating in Vietnam for a little bit more than 5 years. And we started as a traditional intermediation company for financial products and services, a traditional intermediary company which was largely dominated by physical direct sales agents that were selling loans, insurance, and other financial services products. The thinking behind SmartPay and SmartPay within SmartNet was all around how do we digitize intermediation? And digitizing intermediation is really thinking about both the buyers and the sellers and how buyers and sellers transact on a day-to-day basis. And how do we think about the experiences associated with buyers and sellers transacting digitally on a day-to-day basis. So that was really the nexus behind SmartNet applying for its own electronic wallet license, and its electronic wallet license manifesting itself into what SmartPay is today. Again, a purpose-built platform that allows for buyers and sellers to connect in a single application that's fully digitized, from enrollment to ID verification, Not one piece of paper is exchanged as part of this process, regardless of whether you're a buyer or whether you're a seller. We then took the notion of digitizing real engagement on a 24/7 basis and using artificial intelligence, machine learning, so that then our account, the SmartPay wallet, is actually a smart wallet without any fees, without any transactional charges. We do believe that part of the success is largely predicated when we think about winning the game. The game is largely dependent on the merchant network. The sell side of the buy-sell equation. Culturally in Vietnam and many other countries around the world, micro merchant and street merchants and street vendors and household merchants underpin the fundamental retail economy. In Vietnam, there's over 5.2 million micro merchants that have been largely overlooked by many of the earlier electronic wallet companies that have come into the market. 60% of retail GDP is happening within this segment. This is obviously what is the primary focus for SmartPay. We put the micro merchant first. We deliver all of the relative and value-added services that allow for that micro merchant in the 4.0 era, for that micro merchant and that street vendor to be as successful as the most advanced e-commerce provider. Technology allows for the democratization of these types of processes. And this is why we purpose-built SmartPay from the ground up. We had to think about how do we deliver those products and services on a relevant basis, but how do we do it on a cost-effective basis to ensure the ability for our exchange to succeed and to sustain longer term. Longer term, largely driven by adding real value to the ecosystem. It has to be more than just a transaction. There has to be more than simply enabling one person to send money to another person. Real value comes from a platform that's smarter in the sense that understands the buyer-seller dynamics that go on a real-time basis. Real value comes from adding capital to the exchange. We're part of the VP Banking Group, one of, if not the single largest banking concern inside Vietnam. We add capital to this exchange, whether that's in a way of credit to the buyer who's looking to transact, or whether or not that's working capital to the merchant who is looking now to digitize his turnover, and for us to be able to lend to that merchant, bring them into the financial ecosystem, and for them to provide capital that allows for their businesses to grow. Some of these features are very unique in the marketplaces. Things like Smart Cart, where we have a theme ongoing, merchants go online. Again, how do we take an offline merchant and how do we take a traditional offline micro merchant and bring them into the online environment? Again, real value that allows for businesses to grow. Our traction to date has been impressive. We're only 18 months into this undertaking. We've had over 1.4 million downloads. We have over 300,000 micro merchants enrolled inside our network. We have over 600,000 acceptance points around the country. Our users are transacting now on a day-to-day basis. 12 months ago, 12 months ago, we processed around 50,000 transactions. In October, we processed 2 million transactions with the goal to reach 5 million payment transactions processed by December. COVID-19 did not bypass Vietnam. There has been, and it's been publicized, the success that Vietnam, knock on wood, has had in managing COVID-19. But in the second quarter of this year, the market did go into lockdown. As a result of the lockdown, 25% of micro merchants and street vendors have closed their doors. We're doubling down on those merchants that have made it through that 3-month period of time to ensure that they have all of the opportunities to replace lost revenues. Vietnam will grow, be one of the only countries in Southeast Asia that grows from a GDP perspective. And we are forecasting by this time next year, Vietnam would have fully recovered, barring any second or third episodes of COVID-19 presenting themselves in the market. But again, our focus on the micro merchant, allowing for us to be able to support those organizations during what has been a very difficult period of time. Clearly any platform that's focused on one or more different segment needs to continue to develop and add value-added products, services, features into its platform. OpenWaze platform allows for us to do that, and we continuously look to build upon the core services that OpenWaze allowed for us to offer, and now we look at introducing more advanced value-added services to our merchant network. Again, these are features and functions specifically designed for the merchant community, specifically designed for the reality of Vietnam. Think about Smart Ledger. 1 out of 3 merchants in Vietnam keep track and provide their customers credit for a 1-day, 7-day, 14-day, or 30-day period. They do that on pieces of paper. I'm going to take a yogurt today. I'm going to take a bottle of milk. And merchants habitually provide their community those types of facilities, and then a consumer pays that back within the 14 to 30-day period of time. We've automated that process through Smart Ledger. Again, real instances of how merchants do business on a day-to-day basis, and how do we put the technology in the hands of that merchant for them to be able to remain relevant and successful in the future. Again, we're Vietnamese. We are focused entirely on Vietnam. Our platform and our people are all Vietnamese. We are long-term. Our organization dates back to the beginnings in Vietnam. We are one of, again, the strongest financial concerns, and we remain committed to digital transformation and the micro merchant community in particular. With that, I thank you very much for listening.